There was a shooting in Nashville, Tennessee at a school called Antioch School. And the shooter left a manifesto. Now, we're going to go through some of this. You can decide whether or not you believe this or not, or even some of it. But what's interesting is that one of the people he named in the manifesto, or he supposedly named in the manifesto, is Candace Owens. Let's go ahead and get into this. And it's really crazy how school shootings have just become normalized in this country. Very crazy. We're in troubling times.
Still unanswered tonight. Who, if anyone, knew about Henderson's plan? The manifesto does mention someone helping him write part of it. And Jared Holt, you just saw there, says extremists in online communities identified him as the shooter before police did. Again, as we've mentioned, the teen shooter left behind a lengthy diary, giving even more insight into his thoughts leading up to the shooting. Now News Channel 5 investigates reporter Levi Ismail went through page by page and tells us what he found.
It's the first 4 words of a more than 288-page diary, but it sets the tone for everything you read after. Those words, quote, "I'm burning with hate." From October of last year to the day he carried out his attack at Antioch High School, 17-year-old Solomon Henderson filled these pages with graphic images, Nazi symbols, and plans to carry out an attack. Henderson...
Pause. So... if this is the case, this is someone who was anti-Black, someone that didn't like their self, right? I was very surprised when I saw the picture of the shooter because for, those of you that don't know, we don't really do this. Black people, we don't really get down like that. So I was very surprised when I saw that. Very young, but apparently did not like himself. Supposedly. Remember, he's not alive to tell his story. Let's listen to a little bit more.
Obsessed over mass killers around the world and declared that he too intends on doing something to kill at least 10 people. But how does this young man go from active high school student to active shooter?
If we just look at it broadly, a lot of people that have carried out these sort of acts have felt othered.
Lauren Ruth Martin is a licensed therapist with novel counseling in Franklin.
We could go, scientifically for a minute. Our brains aren't fully developed when we're 17. Our brains are actually on fire. And so not a lot makes sense, and decision-making is altered.
Martin says this is not about trying to humanize someone responsible for committing a horrible crime, but...
Pause here for a second. Thank you, La Senora. It's called Antaka, not Antioch. Okay. There was a church my mom used to go to called Antioch, and it was spelled that way. So that's why I thought it was Antioch. Sorry. Thank you. Click says, hold up, something isn't right here. Yeah. This one's a little, I don't know. It's a little weird to me. And again, of course, he's not alive, so we'll never know, but it looked like he had a military uniform on. He was in high school, so I'm assuming maybe he was a part of ROTC. Very young. I just don't understand this at all. Part of me wonders, was it a mental health issue? I don't know. I don't understand it. But the part that's really weird to me is him naming Candace Owens. That's the part to me that's really weird.
Understanding how we got here. Henderson, by his own admission, fought with his parents and even wrote in his diary about killing them at one point. Struggles with his self-image and resentment over minorities were only amplified once Henderson found community and a sense of belonging with white supremacy groups online.
So, see, this is why anti-Blackness is not good, right? But it still seems weird to me that he would go to that level of it. Just this story to me just never made any sense. Like, and this is why I didn't cover it the other day, because I was like, let me look into this a little bit more. It seems weird, right? And don't get me wrong, there are people who do hate their self. Like, there are people who do hate their own race. Like, that is a thing. You can find Black people that don't like Black people, right? But he went to the extent of apparently joining like white supremacist chat groups as well.
It's a perfect storm. In online communities, you can also access those in a private way. You get to be the person that you want to project out there online without anybody truly questioning it.
Henderson often wrote things like, quote, "I wish I was white. Self-hating N-word award goes to," with a picture of his eyes.
If we just focus on that idea of being uncomfortable in your own skin, can you imagine how helpless that must feel? Because you literally can't change that.
Another photo appeared to show Henderson in whiteface, but all while this self-hatred is happening, Henderson continues to plan out his attack. He details instructions on how to make bombs and even bought supplies. He then wrote that it made sense to attack during lunch and specifically made note of days when he expected there to be more people of color around.
So he wanted to go after other people of color. My question is, where did the hate come from? Where are the parents? They said he hated his parents. Why? Where does he get that from? I mean, this isn't something, listen, a child isn't born that way. You know, a child isn't, I feel like that is learned behavior. So where did that come from? You know what Michael Jackson said? Michael Jackson said that his father used to tell him, "God, you have such a big, ugly nose." Michael Jackson said that in an interview. And apparently that must have stuck with Michael Jackson pretty much his whole life, because he continued to have like plastic surgery, that type of thing. So why did he hate his parents? What did the parents do? How were the parents? How did they treat him? Does everybody get what I'm getting at? Yeah, you're right. PB World said MJ's dad was toxic. He was. Like, so where does it come from? Angelique, there are quite a few POC Black people with self-hate problems, so this doesn't surprise me. I don't know any of them, but this is interesting.
Just days before the shooting, Henderson began to spiral. He wrote, "I'm slipping," and talked about being nervous, scared, and excited at the same time. Henderson posted a final selfie with the caption, "4 hours to go."
And of course, we know what he went on to do there, right? He went in and killed, I think there's 2 kids that are now dead. This whole thing to me, and I still ask, like, at that age, was this a mental health issue, right? Was it depression? Was it anxiety? We don't know. We may never know, right? But what's weird by this, the way that this narrative kind of played out is kind of strange to me, because this part right here, Nashville shooter Manifesto reveals he was inspired by Hitler and Candace Owens. And there's others that are mentioned as well. The Nashville school shooter allegedly wrote that his warped ideology was inspired by Candace Owens before he opened fire on 2 classmates and turned the gun on himself. So he fatally shot Jocelyn Correa Escalante, 16, and injured another student before taking his own life. And it talks about the horror inside the school. Much of the writing center on the gunman being ashamed to be Black and praise the work of Hitler and Nazis. Under one section headed, "Is there particular groups or people that radicalize you the most?" Political commentator Owens is name checked alongside far-right influencer Nick Fuentes and YouTuber Mr. Beast. So this is a weird combo here. I mean, Mr. Beast doesn't do the same type of content that Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes does. So very weird there. A little bit strange. right? Okay. I don't know why he would have been interested in listening to Nick Fuentes. I just don't, I don't understand that. But the Candace Owens part is the part where some people may say, well, maybe it's some of the things that Candace Owens said about Black people that appealed to him. Maybe. It says Candace Owens has influenced me above all. Each time she spoke, I was stunned by her insights and her own views, helped push me further and further into the belief of violence over the Jewish question. The manifesto reads, and this is where I have questions, right? And Candace did respond to this. I'll show you this as well. See this part right here? Okay. So we'll come back. It is truly sickening that people would use the death of a young 16-year-old girl to try to quickly score political points rather than to responsibly make sure that what they are sharing is accurate. So listen to this. Regarding the alleged manifesto, it is an obvious troll. How can you tell? Because the deranged individual plagiarized the exact same language from the Christchurch, New Zealand manifesto, combined with other manifestos and writings freely available on the web. In essence, it is a plagiarized document. So you guys see this? It would take 4 seconds of adult thinking and or journalistic integrity to recognize this is a troll. On your left, you'll see the language from the alleged Christchurch manifesto from 2019. On your right, you'll see the leaked manifesto circulating today. So I'll come back to what she said here in a second. I just wanted to show you so you can see what she's talking about. So this is from the Christchurch. Yes, the person that has influenced me above all was Candace Owens. Each time she spoke, I was stunned by her insights, and her own views helped push me further and further into the belief of violence over meekness. That was the Christchurch shooter manifesto. And then here's the one that I just read to you briefly. Candace Owens have influenced me above all else. So do you see what's happening here? So here's my guess, and we'll come back to this and we'll go back to what Candace is saying here, right? It feels very weird to me, and it seems like to me it is troll-like. That's what it seems like to me, because why would you copy what someone else said unless you were trying to send some type of a message, or unless someone wanted you to send that type of a message? Remember, Candace Owens just recently got, not too long ago, just got the Anti-Semitism of the Year award. Remember that? But now I noticed something different about these two pieces. If you pay attention, the first one here from the Christchurch manifesto, it says, influenced me above all else, Candace Owens. Each time she spoke, I was stunned by her insights, her views, blah, blah, blah. And on his manifesto, it says, Candace Owens has influenced me above all. Each time she spoke, I was stunned by her views, helped push me further and further into the belief of violence over the Jewish question. So you see this? Now they've added Jewish people to it. I don't see that in this part here from the Christchurch manifesto. It almost kind of seems like, and this is just my guess, it almost kind of seems like that part of the manifesto kind of seems like a little hit job there on Candace Owens. That's what it seems like. Seems kind of weird. And you don't have to like Candace Owens, but she has a point. Now, this part here, it says Owens is a right-wing commentator who has been accused of downplaying the Holocaust. You see where the narrative is going with this? She was previously denied a visa to enter Australia over her comments about Muslims, Jews, and her capacity to invite discord. Moments before Henderson struck, he posted chilling warnings about his plans, writing, "Today is a good day to die." So does everybody see what they just did there? Do you see how they went from, he said that she influenced him in the manifesto, to Candace has been downplaying the Holocaust and stuff like that. You see how they went along with that narrative? So it fits all together. It's packaged nice and neat. So just think about that. Think about how she's been attacked by Rabbi Shmuley, all these people that came after her. Think about that. Remember how Zionists came after Bree to the point where Bree lost her job on the Hill Rising. It's called a coordinated effort. So we are not here to say that he did not kill those kids at the school. That is not what we're here to say. What we are here to say is the manifesto seems troll-like, obviously. And we also don't know who put him up to it. Questions have to be asked. And that's how I would say it. That's how I would say to look into this. It's also showing something else I want to bring to this part here. So they have a picture of Candace here. A manifesto believed to have been penned by Henderson states that he was inspired by Candace Owens. So you see what they're doing here. So, okie dokie. January 2025. How many of these incidents we have already, right? We're going into the new year. We have a new presidential administration. And then we have the attack in New Orleans, right? We see the New York Post reporter walk into his house and say, and there's the Quran right there, just left open, which apparently Muslims do not do. Just leave it open, wide open like that. So there was that. How convenient. They said that he had joined ISIS or whatever. There was that whole jazz. So, and they're like, oh no, there's going to be, here's another radicalized person of Islam. Right. OK. Then you had the guy who apparently tried to blow up an APAC building or whatever in Florida that apparently had moved and wasn't at that location anymore. This is all in January. Now you got this manifesto here, which is all of a sudden saying, well, Candace Owens inspired me, and the dude's doing a not black kid doing like a Nazi. Come on, man. Just put all these things together, guys. Put all these things together. Come on, let's wake up. Let's wake up and see what's really happening. It seems like there's a coordinated effort here to try to make it seem like there is an increase or a large increase of attacks on those who are Jewish and that they indeed are not safe in this country. That's what it seems like to me. Because Sabby was not born yesterday. And people still have a lot of sympathy for the Palestinian people. And that hasn't changed. So Israel has no other way to try to beat the narrative. So you see what's happening now, right? So to me, I don't know, man. Here's one of the girls that was killed. This is really just very sad. This country is so violent. And he did post on Blue Sky. I guess these were his last posts. He said, one said, today seems like a good day to die. Another one said, I thought someone had found out when I got called to the office, but it was just a probation officer. Another one says, we're good. Everything will be going scheduled. So that was all on Blue Sky. This part too. The writings also cite Kanye West and state that the gunman prepared for the shooting by playing violent video games and parroted parts of other famous killer manifestos. So, of course, and now they bring up Kanye West, right? Right. So just put all the pieces together. Now, all of a sudden, come on now. Regarding the alleged manifesto, it is an obvious troll. This is what Candace wrote. And then it goes on to say here, the Mr. Beast part to me doesn't make any sense. It says, it's also explained why this individual, despite numerous accounts, never followed me or Mr. Beast on any of his socials. We can get to that part here where Candace finishes up what she was saying. She said, that is how it is plausible that both me and Mr. Beast, who clearly do not share the same politics, wind up once again in a manifesto. It also explains why this individual, despite his numerous accounts, never followed me or Mr. Beast on any of his socials. This is a deranged troll that is at least in part due to the death of journalism. Copycats know that they can gain traction by just mentioning what they perceive to be big names because the media will push those names for clicks. I will have more to say on my show tomorrow as I copied all the relevant documents and social accounts. So do you see what has happened? This is why I was saying interesting, right? But a lot of people fell for it. A lot of people saw this and just fell for it. I'm like, come on, guys. You don't think this is weird? You don't think that this is strange? So once again, to me, it seems like a Zionist attack to try to, again, take down her. Kanye, who is mentioned as well. I mean, come on. This game is so old. So old. The sad part is too many people believed it. LPA Film said, yep, can't believe I'm agreeing with Candace. I know, like, she's right about this. Like, it just, and people really ran with it too. Really ran with it. Ladies and gentlemen, people will pull out all the stops sometimes. All the stops. And this is another example. It is very sad that the kids at that school lost their lives. And I am actually more concerned about the fact that this type of violence is normalized in this country now. People don't end up in shock and awe anymore at school shootings the way that they used to when I was growing up. And that is very concerning to me. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.